summarize the second experiment is they were taking DNA and looking at it under the influence of positive and negative emotion. And they were finding under the influence of negative emotion, it shortened. And it was not in a position to either send, receive, or change. It just went into a freeze frame. In positive emotion, it expanded. Not only did it have sending receivers, but it had sending tentacles, but it had receiving gates. I believe that this is that state of prayer where we are so actively, organically engaged in life around us that the very act of being the love we are is sending and receiving. And this is to some degree confirmed by the third experiment I want to share with you. And that's that they decided to take the participants in experiment number 2 and make it very remote control. They would take the DNA samples and move them away by 5 or 10 miles and allow the receiver, the donor of the DNA, to have this range of emotion and see if it still worked 5 or 10 miles away, and it did. Which shows that they did not have to be in, the donor of the DNA did not have to be in the immediate vicinity of the contributed DNA undergoing the experiment. That it happened remotely with the same predictability and the same outcome. And they took the experiment one step further, and they asked the donors of the DNA to be neutral, just to be neutral with it, neither positive nor negative, neither a plus or minus emotion, and had a third person cast upon them either a positive or negative emotion. In other words, let's just say me being neutral right here, and you throwing tons of love at me. My contributed DNA would respond to your love. Let's say you threw anger at me. My contributed DNA would tighten up. So it did not have to be the emotion from the donor.
Was it a visible anger or love, or was it actually just the mental form?
Well, I don't think I've seen these experiments, so I'm not sure I can. But they told people to feel, really feel that emotion. So I'm assuming it wouldn't just be a mental dramatization. That would be an enactment of it. Considering how strong your love is coming at me, I wouldn't want to feel your anger. Not that I expect to get it. But the interesting thing about that experiment, that this experiment came after the others, so you might not know about that one, is that it can come through the third person, the fourth person. This is beginning to explain some of the phenomena of prayer and the collective impact of meditation. And it's beginning to confirm that we have a collective conduit that is running among us all. You have a question or comment?
I have a question. When like we give blood to other people,
Yeah.
to save their lives, and I've always wondered, like, do you think you have a connection when your blood goes in somebody else's body? Do you think that makes a connection between you? Because I've heard people say that whenever they've donated organs, it's like, the person has this organ of another person, all of a sudden you'll have a craving for fried chicken, which you've never had before.
Yeah, I've seen movies about that.
Do you have anything that you could say about that?
Well, the only thing, did you understand the question? Like blood donating and donor donating, does it create that connection? My feeling is it doesn't create the connection, it just makes it more vivid.
Okay.
The connection is already there. But it creates an anchor point where if you wish to activate it, it can be activated. And I think that's like, I could send really, really good wishes to Madison, but if I've never been here, those wishes might not anchor in and it's lit away. The more sensory experience we have, the deeper our prayer will connect and resonate. Yes.
So do these three experiments say that power of prayer then, when you're praying, that can affect the DNA of another person?
Yes, you can. With loving prayer, we would assume that prayers are positive.
Right.
And that we would be sending love. And yes, it actually does. That doesn't mean that our prayers interfere with their free will to receive it. But it's an availability that's there. And experiments have actually been conducted to confirm this. With blind, blind controls. One group that was prayed for, one that wasn't prayed for. They didn't know it. And then the results were measured. And it's astonishing how...
Is this why Jessica would say, bless it away, bless something away, because it would change the...
Of course, you cannot get anything to change if it's not in love.
If someone was negative in your environment, for example, and you bless them and pray for them, you would literally be changing your DNA. As you directed that loving feeling and that loving thought, that would allow them to
change in their own way according to their choices.
Right. But without that, there's not that dynamic of potential.
Yes. Have you ever seen an angry person that's willing to change? No. No. Absolutely not. What state of mind are you in when you're willing to change?
I'd like to take that a step further. I work in surgery.
Uh-huh.
I'm a nurse, so
Okay.
I have to be passive pretty much. And so when surgeons get really agitated, it used to hook me in, and then I become all upset. And so now I'm learning to ground and realize what's theirs is theirs, what's mine is mine, and send positive energy. And it might not change them, but it certainly changed me.
Yes.
And if they're sensing me at a certain level, it's got to calm them down.
Absolutely. There is a lateral positive input. Even if they don't choose to accept it directly, there's always free will. But we can move around the choices of other people with a lot of lateral positive creation. We can create a lot more positive opportunities in the environment. And as people make more choices for the positive, what's going to happen? Morphogenic resonance, if we want to use that term, or the whole electron mirroring that we were talking about yesterday. We have so much more to explore about the plasma universe that flows through us, that is clearly containing, sending, and receiving thoughts, and contributing to our collective evolution. So we have now much evidence of the fact that we are connected, even though we each have the right of our unique and personal life. We always have our free will. We were given our life as an indelible property, shall we say, a property of the soul, to be and to fulfill its unique purpose. And no one has a right to cross those boundaries. There's a boundary I'll uphold.
Can you say more about that?
Yeah. Because we do not have the right to interfere with the free will or the purpose of another person. And there are some indelible boundaries that have been given to us as individuals. And to build around ourselves a life in which we make our choices, and in which we put in that life the model of the universe we want to be in. And we put inside our personal reality the ideals that embrace and lift our life. Every soul has that right. Every soul has that. And at the same time, we do share a common matrix. Does that make sense?